His map screen evolves as he learns too, portraying the town as built on the back of a giant bull, with the veins of the world portraying the town as a gigantic organism. Then the polyhedron appears, tearing through the veins, injuring the earth itself. Blood pools at the base of the tower, myopic dreams of utopia scraping a nightmarish wound into the earth. To the Haruspecs, the polyhedron caused the plague, and it should be destroyed, so the town can heal. I like these two divergent climaxes. Both characters have such different perspectives and experiences that you can see how they came to the conclusions they did, and it highlights their differing philosophies about the world and how to live in it. Dankovsky wants to transcend the flesh, to defeat death itself, to build wonderful and impossible things. He doesn't really care about average people. He feels like he's too important for them. He doesn't even like them, really. His ultimate medicine prevents infection, shields you from the plague. It doesn't actually stop it killing the people it gets to. An ounce of prevention might be worth a pound of cure, but what about all the people who need curing? They get written off, not just by his version of medicine, but the town itself has to die for him to be certain the plague is dead with it. He'd rather destroy something than risk it spreading the disease, a mistake that actually helped doom the creation of more actual cures. Every choice he made was understandable, and yet it was never enough to actually save most of the people of the town. Artemy is a polar opposite. He's more concerned with curing the sick than protecting the healthy. He gets down in the dirt, the bowels of the earth, and makes tough sacrifices, even killing innocent people, but he does it compassionately to try to end the suffering for real. And protecting the townspeople means protecting them from the high-minded idealism that led to the negligence that failed to prevent the plague early on, and invented the structure that caused it all in the first place. A lot of this stuff is very ambiguous. There's a lot of ways of looking at it, but at least in my interpretation, the game seems very concerned with the tensions between the utopian dream of a better world and the actual people who have to build it and live through the follies that come with these projects. It's hard not to notice this Russian game's parallels with the history of the Soviet Union. As for the Changeling, I can't be bothered. I mean, come on, do I really need to do a third 20-hour playthrough and then explain all of that? I'm sure nothing that interesting happens in it. These endings don't just happen on their own, however. Left to its own devices, at the end of the 12th day, the army destroys everything and the bad ending happens. In order for your character to successfully get their ending, none of their bound can be sick. They have to prove that they're a good doctor, which means doing the main quest on time every day, and if you didn't, you have to cure the ones that got sick. You can do this by using the panaceas or schmauzers you found over the course of the run, so if you didn't use them yourself or sell them for tons of cash, they're a kind of get-out-of-bad-ending-free card per person who got ill. If you prove you've done your duty as a doctor, you're let into the cathedral to argue your case, and when the day ends, you get your character's ending. Yay! The end. But on the same day, you also get letters from the other two characters. They both still have their own ideas for what needs to be done about the plague, but because you weren't in control of them, they kept messing up. Their plotlines weren't quite as successful as they could have been, and a bunch of their bound caught the plague. They plead with you to help cure them so they can argue their case too. And if you cure all of them, you can invite them to the cathedral and actually pick their ending instead of yours. You can tell the commander to go with someone else's idea if you get them a seat at the table. Then you get their ending instead, and in the classic HD edition, you can that's nice. Get that ending instead. Cool. But if you do manage to invite someone else, something else happens too. You get a letter from the powers that be, inviting you to the polyhedron. You only go there like twice as the Bachelor and once as the Haruspecs, and you never go very far in. Only those with young, unsullied creative minds can see it for more than a series of small rooms. This time you can descend to the very bottom to meet the gods of the world. Major spoilers from here on out, folks. This is the secret shit half the people who finished the game never even learn. Here we go. That model looks a whole lot like the town with the polyhedron sticking out, doesn't it? Oh fuck! It is the town! You're in a garden, and two giant children are there, surprised that their doll has come to life. The town, everyone in it, and the plague are just an imaginary story told by two kids in a sandbox. They tell you you're a toy, and you can complain about your fate and how unfair being not real is at them, but it's all futile. You can't change anything. They're kids playing God, and you were their imaginary friend, a doll who briefly got to question his masters before returning to the game. So, this ending is pretty divisive, to say the least. It really annoyed some people. There's plenty of posts out there about how much it messes with them. This happens 20 to 30 hours into a story you've been super engrossed in, and if you do really good at the story, the secret extra revelation is that none of it was real. It was all in vain. In fact, as Dankovsky, your mission